Thank you, Kate Burness. We welcome you to Calgary on a cool and rainy August night. Two teams trying to climb those West Division standings. You got the 3-5 BC Lions and the 4-5 Calgary Stampeders hitting the halfway point of their season. Lots of players to watch for, but we're going to give you some advice here. Watch for 34. 34, that's the key on both teams. So let's start with Calgary's. Tyreek McAllister, dangerous not only on special teams.
Oh, just a guy that when he gets the ball in his hands, he's electric. He scored in one game in 3 different ways. He leads the league in combined yards, has 6 touchdowns, and a big return against BC in Kelowna. And how about Xander Horvath, who will see a ton of action in this game tonight? He has 4 touchdowns in the last 2 games.
Buck Pierce, second year as head coach with the BC Lions, and back-to-back wins after that one in Winnipeg without Nathan Rourke and then beating the Hamilton Tiger Cats last Saturday. Dave Dickinson started as head coach of the Calgary Stampeders in 2016. He needs 1 win for 100 as the Stamps head coach, and pretty exclusive company there, all with one team. Well, there is Tyreek McAllister at a punt return for a touchdown for the Stamps against the BC Lions the last time they met. That was week 4 at touchdown Kelowna. He can be a game breaker, and it's Carl Meyer to kick things off for the BC Lions, their second meeting of the season. The Stamps, who were swept by BC last year, did win that first game 7 weeks ago in Kelowna, 41-33. Week 11 begins. The turning point here halfway through the CFL regular season, and awaiting the signal with the ball at the BC 30. Thursday night football from McMahon Stadium in Calgary is underway, with Meyer kicking it off and McAllister awaiting it down at the 15. Tyreek McAllister across the 30, 35. And a good return for him as he gets it up across the 40, making way for Vernon Adams Jr. finally threw an interception. A couple of them last week against the Argos.
After 299 attempts, yeah, that first interception of the season. Going back to last year, he had the streak going, as a matter of fact. That ended against the Argos. 2 picks in that one and didn't get the win. Toronto got it on a walk-off field goal, basically. Vernon Adams, ball security, super important in these conditions.
Yeah, it could be slick down there, although we've got a bit of a reprieve from the rain. It rained hard earlier today. Play action fake to Diedrich Mills, and Adams decides to take off as he slides a long way. That slide went about 4 yards, and let's take a look at that Stampeder offense.
Yeah, we talked about it in the pregame show, but Deontay Demery against Matthew Betts will be an interesting matchup, a game inside the game. That offensive line for Calgary's got to turn it up a notch. Been a bit of an issue up and down all season long. The leading rusher in the Canadian Football League, he is the leader, was last year as well, Diedrich Mills. He'll get a ton of touches tonight in these conditions.
Adams picked up 8 yards on that run. He was 12 of 24 for 159 only. No touchdowns from those 2 interceptions against the Argos. And here it is, Tevin Jones taking that little hot pass and gets the first down, gets across midfield into the Lions zone. A test for the BC defense.
And take a look at Matthew Betts, who is in a tie for the league lead. There's the matchup against Demery and Cawley, the other side, at right tackle as well. A catalyst for this defense in the turnaround has been Parker McKenna in the linebacking core. 32 defensive tackles and 5 starts for him. Not a lot of interceptions in this secondary, but Jackson Finley has 1.
That Lions D steadily improving this season after a rough start. Here it's a first down, Calgary. Swinging it out and dropped and picked up by Deontay Williams. He swung it out. Looked like it still was a forward pass there for Dejan Brissett, who looked like he had it for a moment, but they're calling it incomplete.
Yeah, I think with Brissett, that was incomplete on him trying to catch it. That was pretty bang as he comes across. And that throw out here, the question is it a lateral? Is it throw behind Vernon Adams? And I don't think it was. Forward pass and a drop.
And that's what the officials rule there. So incomplete pass. Just inside midfield, little movement there along the line, and whistles go. Matthew Betts, you see, jump. And the right tackle, Bekeem Cawley, number 54, pointing fingers at Betts.
So Cawley's in his 7th start.
Defensive offside, BC number 90. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
His first start was against the BC Lions, so he does know a little bit about Matthew Betts, and Betts gets called here. He's down at the bottom of your screen off the edge. Let's see if he just, jumps in that neutral zone.
Trying to get that jump on VA. Tied for the top in the sacks lead. He has 6. Another one in this game. Clarence Hicks of the Stamps has 6. Quickly away. And Brissett, and another one he just can't hang on to. Took a pop for it anyway as it went in and out of his hands. And now it's a 3rd and 5 coming up for Calgary.
Yeah, the first drop was a much easier catch attempt because it was that little bubble screen. This one was over the middle, and there's some traffic in there, led by Parker McKenna. Talked about him in the pregame show and what a catalyst he's been in the turnaround of this Benavides defense. Ranked last in the first 3 weeks, have slowly moved up to a tie for 4th.
Here's first-year kicker Jude Mikitamni. In Kelowna in week 4, he hit a 57-yarder, tied for the league lead. This a 55-yard attempt, and he is money again from long distance. Mikitamni is now 5 for 5, 50-plus. It's the Stamps are first on the board.
That's a big kick in these conditions.
Filling in for the injured Rene Paredes and doing it admirably. Another deep kick. Mikitamni, 3-0 Calgary.
Good numbers against this particular team. He's 4-1 against Calgary, 25-17 as a starter for the BC Lions. And said last week, even though he threw for 370 yards against Hamilton, he said it just was an ugly win. It just didn't feel like that.
Well, there was, I mean, he had some missed throws. There was a lot of drops in that game, too. Could have more passing yards. That 462, by the way, that was back in week 4 when they lost a touchdown Kelowna to the Stampeders. Running now, James Butler. And we do wonder what the approach to running will be by BC and Buck Pierce when they have both Butler and Xander Horvath to work with.
Take a look at their lineup up front. Tyron Hunt is going to have to deal with Lauren Arimolade in this game tonight. That's going to be the trench war tonight is going to be remarkable. Javon Catoy made his return from injury last week and had 100 yards, his first in the Canadian Football League, which I had to triple check.
That's a big addition, getting back in the lineup. Big 86. Second down. He's coming. Rourke gets rid of it too, and it's over the middle, and the ball comes out after it appeared to be caught back in the hands of the Lions and Catoy. But that was Justin McInnes right at midfield, still signaling it should be a first down, which it would be if he's ruled down after catching the ball.
Yeah, very nice pickup to allow Nathan Rourke to even make this play by James Butler. One of the reasons that he's going to play and be in the rotation, he's so good at protecting his quarterback and gave Nathan Rourke just enough time to get that ball out. Now, you mentioned the drops last week, Rod. That's inside in the dome. It's going to be tough to snap that problem here in these conditions.
McInnes does hang on. And we have a challenge coming out, and I'm sure that's what it'll be. Did he hang on enough, went down, and the ball did come out? It looked like it did not come out until he had been tackled by Zy Alexander.
It was about, I would say, 6 drops against Hamilton.
Calgary is challenging the previous ruling of a completed pass. The play will be reviewed.
Take a look at the route here. There's Justin McInnes on that bender that he loves. Now, does he have it long enough? And is he down by contact before that ball comes out? And does he have it long enough to constitute possession and a fumble, or is it simply an incomplete pass? That's what the replay center is looking at right now.
Well, when you look at it at game speed, it certainly looked like he did. There you see some movement before he does go down, but interesting decision coming up here for the replay center.
And we're showing you slow motion. Sorry, Rod.
Yeah.
We're showing you slow motion looks, but here's full speed, and this is really how they're supposed to make this decision based on the full speed look. So you want to be a ref?
Yeah.
And get it right every time? That's how quick it happens.
Yeah. And it can be sometimes hard even when they are going over it frame by frame. But yeah, McInnes, and you talked about his game last week. Talk about bittersweet, because he had the drops, and yet he had an 82-yard touchdown on a flea flicker, and he ended up with over 150 yards receiving in that game. But even he didn't seem happy afterwards. The Lions offense in general had some sloppy moments.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, so a couple drops by McInnes himself. Keon Hatcher, their #1 target. He had a couple. You know, it was just one of those nights. And then when they sort of started to figure it out against Hamilton, then Nathan overthrew a couple of receivers. So it was a bit of a sloppy win, but a win is a win.
Yep.
And Buck Pierce will take it because he gets this one tonight and he moves into a tie in the standings with Calgary. Or tie with wins, anyway.
With wins, yeah. I mean, the Stamps committed 4-5. They're 3-5. And when they last met, BC had that 0-2 start where they lost a close one in Saskatchewan and then more decisively lost in Hamilton. Then came back and played the Stampeders and fell to 0-3 after that loss to Calgary.
Boy, they're taking a long look at this, aren't they? The Lions did recover.
Oh, we see movement. Let's hear Andre Proulx.
Upon replay, the ruling on the field is overturned to an incomplete pass. Third down.
Yeah, it looked to me like the decision was made because the ball was moving in his hands. It never really...
Which you could definitely tell by the replay slowed down.
Yeah, when it was slowed down, you could see that the ball was moving. So they say he didn't have possession, incomplete pass, and the Lions will punt.
So instead, they moved back, negating the 17-yard gain. Carl Meyer with the punt for Tyreek McAllister just inside the 25, and there will be no yards, a 15 yards tacked on that return. Adams comes back on after a terrific start to the season. Didn't throw an interception until last week in Toronto. The Stampeders at the early didn't have the big numbers against the Argos, but Calgary suits could have won this game.
Yeah, they really could have. I mean, they played well enough to win it. Got it, had the ball in a tie game down to the fourth quarter. About 2 minutes left. Went for it on 3rd and 1, just over midfield, and were stopped on the 3rd down. That's when Toronto took the ball, went down and kicked the winning field goal. But yeah, that was a game that could have been won by Calgary in a big way on the road.
One of those what-if finishes. If they had got the first down and kicked the winning field goal themselves, be coming in here at 5-4. That close. Second possession, Dedrick Mills with his first carry. The CFL's rushing leader coming into this week with 707 yards. Picks up 4 more there for Calgary.
Yeah, I think both offensive coordinators here tonight were probably keyed in to get their running backs going. Dedrick Mills for Calgary, and of course Horvath and Butler for BC. But then the rain let up, and the coordinators started going, well, wait a minute. Well, the rain is not, it was coming down big time before the game, and it just let up. And if it's going to be like this, why don't we start throwing it early and see if we can get it and beat the rain?
But that window could be closing now because the rain is starting up again here at the 42, 2nd and 6. VA and the Stamps over the middle. It's caught. You do start to watch for that. That's a Joe, by the way. In his first game with the Calgary Stampeders, started his CFL career with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and he had been suspended for the gender-based violence and harassment policy and violating that, and was reinstated, and the Stamps signed him up.
Yeah, 3-part process for him to get back. 15 mandatory counseling sessions, psychological assessment by an independent expert, and meeting with Commissioner Stuart Johnson. Passed those levels and those requirements, back in the lineup.
So the newest Calgary receiver, and it's a first down at the BC 53. Adams off to the right, caught, and inside the 40, and that's another new addition. He was a great rookie last year in Alford, and Alford's second game back for Damian Alford for Calgary, and has that catch for 17.
Yeah, you know, it's been a couple of games now, so I think everyone in Calgary and Calgary fans are thinking about big things for Damian Alford. I mean, you can't coach 6'6", and his leaping ability. Just an outstanding athlete. Back from his NFL tryout. I expect big things from him, probably tonight.
Back to the ground. And that is Jalen Philpott with a carry, and Darnell Sankey wraps him up, but a good pickup by Philpott on a running play to get it inside the 30, close to another first down.
So how about this receiving core all of a sudden? A Joe, Damian Alford. That was Reggie Begelton. That's apparently getting closer to a return. And Clark Barnes, Eric Brooks, Tevin Jones, and Jalen Philpott aren't playing poorly. This is a a team with lots of depth at receiver all of a sudden.
Lots of talent. And yeah, Reggie Begelton injured over a year ago, and they're still hoping get his talent back. He'd been one of the best receivers in the Canadian Football League. 2nd and 2 after that pickup by Jalen Bilbon. Here's Mills going to work. Diedrich Mills spinning, chugging, getting inside the 10. 1st and goal, Calgary coming up.
Just nice protection and blocking up front. Went with the double tight end set. Really good down block off the edge for Diedrich Mills, and a 19-yard gain off the left side of that offensive line.
Gets it just inside the 10. He is 23 and 2 carries so far in this game. And with a 3-0 lead, in scoring range again, a 1st and goal from the BC 9. Mills again. And that time, good tackle coming in by Sankey to limit him to another yard or 2.
There's coming into the week. Diedrich Mills again leading the league in rushing. Travis Tice pushing him. I think there's about 10 carries difference between the two of them. Diedrich Mills 10 more carries than Tice.
And Tice has really come on in the last couple of weeks.
Has he ever? And expecting to see that guy right there get a few more touches as the season goes on here. Dustin Rankin started off so hot.
So 2nd and goal at the BC 7. Looking to throw is Adams to the right, to the end zone, tipped away nicely. And that's C.J. Colden, the new field corner for BC this season. Former Ottawa Red Black, who knocks it away and prevents a touchdown.
Yeah, he fell underneath that. He just stopped from to the left of your screen. See Jackson Finley playing straight down the middle at free safety. You can see the corner, and C.J. Colden he gets underneath the throw and almost there in time to go up with 2 hands to bring that down. Ronald Kent over the top.
Jason McGugan will have the snap. Mark Bassett the hold, and another field goal try is good for Jude Mikitamne. Followed up a 55-yarder with a chip shot from 14 yards away. 2 Calgary possessions and 2 scores, both of them field goals. So Nathan Rourke getting set to come back on against a team he's had a lot of success against. 6-0. Stampeders leading the turf here at McMahon, and Nathan Rourke back out there with the Lions offense, trailing 6-0 now. Buck Pierce, head coach, and calling the plays for Rourke and the Lions offense as well. Coming in a 2-game winning streak. 4-man rush. He has time. Deep shot over the middle and a bit far for Keon Hatcher. Jaden Grant was coming in, and it just was beyond the reach of Hatcher there.
Well, let's take a look at some leaders on the Calgary defense, and I mean league leaders, because Clarence Hicks is tied for the league lead in sacks. In the linebacking core, Markel Lee is tied for the league lead in defensive tackles. And then in the secondary, Ben LaBrosse tied for the league lead in interceptions.
Boy, he gets them in bunches, doesn't he? LaBrosse had 3 weeks ago in Winnipeg, and then a couple more against the Argos and Chad Kelly last week in Toronto. 5 in 3 games for Ben LaBrosse. 2nd down. Quickly caught underneath. Jermaine Jackson loses the football. Talking about turnovers, and we have the first one here with Zy Alexander, the last one to touch it and take it out of bounds. So that was caught by Jackson in these slippery conditions, lost the handle on the ball, and the Stampeders with that 6-point lead take over inside the BC 45.
Ball security, it's got to be the message. And what that means for receivers, DBs, guys that are handling the football, it's that extra little bit of concentration. Making sure you get, when contact comes, you get 2 hands over it. I know he wants to make a guy miss and get up there, but that ball, he wasn't even hit. That ball came out on its own.
And it was only Stampeders close to it, so they didn't have to panic to see who's the last to touch it. Going out of bounds, actually picked up by Alexander. Adams, there's Tevin Jones, who had a touchdown in the first meeting back in Kelowna. He just keeps pumping those legs and bumping into Lions and moving it down for a 14-yard pickup.
How about that? That's worth a couple replays. Let's take a look at that. That's just great individual effort by Tevin Jones. Takes the hit and then takes a linebacker for a ride. I mean, that's Darnell Sankey that hit him initially. Sankey got on his back.
Bit of a Calgary stampede there.
That was
going for a ride.
That was nice.
Down to the BC 29. Good quarter for the Stampeders. Third drive now for Calgary. For Vernon Adams. Four-man pressure. He sends it off to Mills. Gets ahead of steam and works his way down to about the 20 or inside and close to another Calgary first down.
Yeah, that was a design play. That wasn't Mills checking for a block or to help on a chip. That was Mills getting out of the backfield very quickly. Get him out there. It's basically an extended run, like a wide pitch. Get him outside of the defensive end and get him in space.
And that was enough for a first down, and similar to the play that scored the first touchdown in touchdown Kelowna when they went off to the left and Mills managed to stay in bounds and break the plane of the goal line to get Calgary on the board first. Right now they get the 6-0 lead, and they are looking for more inside the 20 now. Here comes Calgary. Faking the Mills, pressure on Adams, and Matthew Betts, the sack leader in the Canadian Football League, gets number 7 to break the tie. Betts moving in there on Vernon Adams, had a sack of him back in Kelowna and gets another one there.
Yeah, he's up against Bryce Bell here in a basic one-on-one and just kind of jukes him at the line of scrimmage with putting that left foot in the ground, getting the weight of Bryce Bell to lean that way and then go inside, and has the speed to get to Vernon Adams.
Two-time Defensive Player of the Year, including last year. The sack leader. He's a sack leader again by himself. Adams throws it again, and that one falls incomplete. Darnell Sankey in there and Dejan Brissett. So once again, Mikitamni will come on to see if they can make it a third straight field goal in a Calgary possession.
You saw the reaction from Vernon Adams there, because that's good field position twice, that if they go down and score majors, the score looks very different nearing the end of this first quarter, and they can start to run away with this, and it hasn't happened. They've bent the BC defense but haven't broken down here.
Yeah, that's the good news for the Lions, as it's been all Calgary here, but settling for field goals, and that's after getting inside the 20 twice in this quarter. So Mikitamni is good again. He's 3 for 3. Stampeders improved their lead to 9-0 with under 2 minutes to go until first quarter time. Some Hardy fans coming to McMahon as the rain is intermittent right now. Nathan Rourke getting set to come back on.
Big singles for
Derek Moncrief and Markel Lee.
Yeah, Derek Moncrief, Markel Lee. How do you become official Calgarian, Rod? Well, you have to try the drink that was invented right here in Calgary, a Caesar. That was their first one. Obviously, both those guys are Americans. But I did have a chance to talk to Derek Moncrief's wife about it, who is Canadian. And I said, how has Derek, by this point of living in Canada, not tried a Caesar yet? And she said, I actually don't know, but he did say he really enjoyed it. So maybe there's some more in the future. And guys, we did have a chat about this earlier, and we said it. Americans, I'm going to take some heat for this. I don't know if they really understand what they're missing here. They think Bloody Marys are it. Caesars are way better.
No argument, Brett.
No argument here either.
A little trivia. His name was Walter Chow and discovered in Calgary, or invented in Calgary, the Bloody Caesar. There's Derek Moncrief making a play here.
Who, by the way, according to Ben LaBrosse, who we talked to this week, big barbecue for the DBs and linebackers, and Moncrief, after making that tackle, is apparently the best cook when it comes to the barbecue. Got that veteran savvy on the cue.
Rourke finding Keon Hatcher for a first down for the BC Lions head across their 50, trailing by 9. Another carry for James Butler, and not much there. Stats are all over him to limit the damage to about a yard. And we got a second and long coming up here in the final minute of the first quarter.
So here's a little, and I know this is a bit of a dilemma for Buck Pierce and, you know, his decisions on how he's going to rotate his running backs, but not a lot of touches for Xander Horvath. And that's a little surprising after a whole quarter of play. Now, he's got 2 great tailbacks. James Butler has got a 100-yard game this year, excellent in protection. So I get the dilemma.
2nd and 9, and there was movement, and a flag comes out.
But you think about the Winnipeg game. Now, Nathan Rourke didn't play in that game. Horvath.
And Butler was hurt and didn't play.
Exactly.
BC number 67. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Tyron Hunt called on that early movement up at the right tackle spot. Now Horvath is in the backfield here and swung out of the backfield, a little check down throw.
And there is Horvath. His breakout game was in Calgary in week 16 last year when he had 152 yards rushing, including a 70-yard touchdown underneath. And that's for Hatcher again at the 50, but still behind the original line of scrimmage, and the punting unit will come on. 2 ticks left until quarter time.
Well, I tell you what, one of the advantages Calgary has in this game, and basically when they play anybody, is Tyreek McAllister back there returning kicks along with Eric Brooks. I mean, field position advantage. Calgary's had it in almost every single game that they've played this year because of their return game.
2 returners back for Calgary. Brissett along with the one who takes it. McAllister off the hop. 37-yard punt by Carl Meyer, and McAllister gets it up across the 30 for BC. The first quarter dominated by the Calgary Stampeders and their possessions, but they all ended up with field goals instead of touchdowns. Got a 9-0 Stampeder lead over the BC Lions here on Thursday Night Football in Calgary. They really dominated that quarter. You look at time of possession, but I guess if there's one thing BC can hang on to, they bent. They didn't completely break. 3 field goals instead of touchdowns.
Yeah, the Stamps in that quarter had excellent field position, one because of the turnover, but didn't finish with majors. So that's the good news for the Lions fans. The bad news is -1 yard rushing.
Yeah.
And very few, if any, touches to Horvath. And, that's a bit puzzling when you think back to the Winnipeg game when this BC team, I know it's a different team, different defense, but this offense in BC rushed for 377 yards combined in that game.
So the second quarter begins. The Stampeders are a little further back in their zone. They start from the 33 with that 9-point lead. And off the fake, it is caught by Jalen Philpott. He had a carry earlier in this game. Got himself a catch approaching the 50, and that's a first down for Calgary.
Philpott, some of the game is played from the shoulders up, and it's just to know time and space, where to be, and when to get there. Defenders closing from 3 different positions, but you just have to know exactly when to get there, when to flash open. Philpott was right where he had to be.
15-yard pickup for the leading receiver in the Calgary Stampeders, Jalen Philpott, up to the Stamps 48 now. And a 1st and 10. Adams. And then set it up there for Mills, but BC's defense up front has that read nicely. A loss, actually, of a yard. That's Casey Sales in on the tackle there for the Lions.
On that first down, Calgary had Tyreek McAllister in the backfield. So they subbed Dedrick Mills in on this play. First down again, continue to try to rotate through, and not a surprise that Parker McKenna was in on that tackle again. Boy, he's been a catalyst for this defense.
Really, since that first game, as you talked about, for him back in week 4 in Kelowna against the Stampeders. 2nd and 11 after that loss. Throwing it off to the left for Philpott, who tries to break away from Ronald Kent. Does for a moment, and then gets some help from Darnell Sankey as he's back to the 53, but still a 3rd down coming up here.
Yeah, Ronald Kent plays this very well because he's got a lot of space here. This is advantage receiver. If you're one-on-one in the open field as a DB receiver, the guy can make 1 or 2 moves, put his foot in the ground, get outside, get that first down on his own. But Kent, what he did was buy time. He just stayed up there, stayed on his feet, bought time, and his friends showed up, led by Darnell Sankey.
So we see Mark Vassett, the punter for the Stamps, for the first time in this game. Their first 3 possessions ended up with field goals. And now punting. Taking it down around Lions offense will head back on the field. But so far, not seeing any of those explosive signs from BC that we've seen in the past against Calgary. Although a lot of their yardage, we recall when they were 3 touchdowns down in Kelowna, came late in that game when Nathan Rourke ended up passing for 462. They had a great start last week against Hamilton. Rourke was 5 for 5. They had a touchdown, and then we talked about before, got a little sloppy for BC's offense with some drops, but he still ended up throwing for 370. Rourke handing off now. It's Xander Horvath, and there you go, as he picks up at 4 yards on that play, almost 5. This is our statistician, Dave Moyer.
And this is the other guys, you know, that they can get involved here in the offense, try to get in a rhythm and on the roll. Javon Catoy last week, after coming off the 6-game injured list, his first 100-yard game in the Canadian Football League against Hamilton. He's been targeted when you go back to that first game where he was hurt against Saskatchewan, and then last week 11 times. He's caught all 11. He can kickstart this offense.
Well, let's go. And a 2nd and 5, and off to the left it is caught, and there's a first down, and it's back to Horvath. You've seen him run the ball. You see him catch it too. He's second to Tommy Stevens, by the way, in touchdowns scored this year. He got 2 last week. He's up to 10.
Well, the superpower for Horvath is that he can really work a defense and just kind of grind them down. They get tired of hitting him. You know, it was written in one of the articles I read after the Winnipeg game where they were saying that the Winnipeg defense in that one just basically lost interest in tackling Xander Horvath.
It's a good way to put it. It's up over the 32 now. Faking to Horvath, rolling to the left is Rourke, who's going to take off, and a flag is out. Nathan Rourke runs for a first down, but that flag coming out back in the BC backfield. This could be coming back.
Holding BC number 64. 10-yard penalty will replay first down.
Referee Andre Prue. They're flagging the left tackle Corey Woodruff.
Next play, guys, next play.
A lot of double tight sets for Buck Pierce's offense. Over there on the left tackle spot is Woodruff. And he goes downfield, and there's your hold right there. Very clear. Kyle Wilson.
That's from the team that's been penalized the least in the CFL this year. Calgary's been penalized the most, by the way. Here's Rourke rolling out to the right, looking deep. Down to an open receiver in behind is Jackson. Will he be caught just before the goal line? He is, by Anthony Johnson. That close to another touchdown against BC, but instead it'll set up a 1st and goal for the Lions in business now at the Calgary 1.
Great block off the edge here to make sure that Nathan Rourke can get outside. I believe it was Javon Catoy who helped out on Rinaldi. That allowed Nathan Rourke to get outside on the edge, and when he did, he could either run or throw. Found Jackson deep, and away they go.
85 yards, 2nd longest reception of the season in the CFL, Jermaine Jackson. So they put it down at the 2 for a 1st and goal. Xander Horvath is in at quarterback. Short yardage, left, pushes his way in, and another touchdown for Horvath. And suddenly the Lions, with one big play, followed up by the touchdown run, have closed the gap here in Calgary.
Jermaine Jackson just keeping his stride going and knowing that he could run underneath this one was big. Here's the touchdown by Horvath. He's their short yardage guy. He'll get you 3 or 4. 4 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Now that's his 5th. What a throw by Rourke on the run outside.
And for Xander Horvath, that's, as mentioned, his 11th touchdown now in the season to tie him with Saskatchewan's Tommy Stevens for the lead.
See Nate just tap Javon Catoy on the side. He said, thanks, man, for that block. Yeah.
Point after, Sean White. 9-0 turns to 9-7 in a real hurry as the Lions get on the board. Rourke rolling out to the right and just in behind coverage. Jermaine Jackson nearly has his third touchdown of the season. Horvath gets it instead. BC within 2.
But Nathan Rourke knows exactly why that play worked, and it was because of the work of Javon Catoy, who's going to come down inside and work on a Rimolade so that he can get the edge. Here he comes down the side. Now, if a Rimolade right here gets up the field and he can cut Nathan Rourke off, he's in trouble and may not have that throw deep down the field. He gets the edge because of that block. Wasn't a big one, just enough. Big play down the field.
Just getting in behind Zy Alexander, Jermaine Jackson, and Anthony Johnson saving a touchdown for one play, but then BC tuck it in. Here's a return there by McAllister, and a good one too up across the Calgary 45. So VA, those first 3 possessions all leading to field goals, and his numbers 7 for 11 for 84 yards so far.
Boy, that McAllister return just takes a little wind out of the BC sails, doesn't it? I mean, that's the difference, and they don't always have to be return touchdowns. McAllister just, after a touchdown and a big one, gets a 38-yarder. Excellent field position now for Vernon Adams in this offense. 2 first downs, and they're in field goal range.
Kind of quietly explosive, isn't he?
It really does.
Ho-hum, 38 yards, but look where they are. They started the 46. Only leading by 2 now, and on the ground, and again, BC's defense. Talked about how they've steadily improved, and against the running game, Darnell Sankey wrapping up Diedrich Mills there for not much.
Well, first 3 games of the year, Mike Benavides' crew was ranked dead last, 9th, giving up lots of points, gave up 7 explosions, 8 touchdowns, and now look at their rankings. They're tied for 4.5 now, and right there is leading the league in rush yards allowed. And you know, when you look at it and you see the growth and you look at, well, why is this happening? One of the keys right there, 42.
Well, just a couple of yards there for the CFL's leading rusher, Diedrich Mills. Some pressure on Adams. Betts chasing him down. Adams takes off, and Betts still in pursuit. But Vernon Adams has enough for a first down. Betts had already picked up a sack in this game, and after the sack eluded him, he just tried to track him down before the first down, but 11 yards VA.
That's what Deontay Demery said about Matthew Betts and how quickly that he can just keep that motor running with Betts. Excuse me, he was inside right here in the middle, and now he gets him on the run. And Mike Benavides will move him around. He doesn't always come off the edge. He'll move him into that defensive tackle spot. But what a foot race where there, a little mutual respect between VA and Matthew Betts.
Now on the edge on the other side now. VA handing it off to Mills. And Diedrich Mills works his way down to about the BC 46, 6-yard pickup there for Calgary.
One of the reasons, by the way, that scoring is up is good returners. You know, we talk about the offensive performances of these teams and how
the field position they're setting up.
Exactly. Field position from guys like McAllister, and boy, there's so many good ones in the league.
Well, he can break a game open. He did the last time these two teams met. And Calgary had a 14-point lead. He made it 21 in a hurry with a punt return touchdown in the fourth quarter that essentially put it away. Here's Adams. Stands in. Gets rid of it to Jalen Philpott. Another catch for Philpott. Another first down for Calgary around the BC 35.
Nice route run in here by Philpott, and it's at the top of the route where he makes it work. He's going to come on the waggle here, and then he runs the out down the field. But watch at the end of it, right at the top of the route here. Now he breaks at that 30 and doesn't float away, does he? Comes back 5 yards to help his quarterback out.
Hey, we came back up. Don't give them much space.
And create some separation.
Just outside the 35. So good drive here in response by Vernon Adams and the Calgary Stampeders with a 9-7 lead. Just over 6 minutes to go until halftime. Little play action pass, and it's a deep one. Taking a shot and tripped up. And a flag comes out. The intended receiver is Alford. And in contact there was Stanley Thomas. Thomas Oliver. It looked like Alford was breaking loose, had a shot at a touchdown, but was tripped and fell, and the flag hit the field shortly after.
Yeah, big deep post here by Damian Alford, and this
accidental pass interference. BC number 23. This is a 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
You know, he has inside leverage on Thomas Oliver. Oliver's still in decent position. Depends on where the ball ends up. If it's a little underthrown, he goes. This is accidental because the feet got crossed up. So it's not a point of foul. And on the 1 yard line.
Alford tripping there just inside the end zone. So it is the 10-yard penalty. Gets down to the 26 of BC. A draw to Mills. Works his way down inside the 20. So the CFL's leading rusher is starting to heat up. 7 more yards now for Dedrick Mills.
Nice balance. Manageable situations for Dave Dickinson, Vernon Adams. Working on his 100th win on the same team.
Quite a career. 2 careers. Dave Dickinson, the player, Hall of Famer.
Former
head
BC
coach.
Lion.
Former BC Lion, won a Grey Cup in 2006 with BC. And of course with Calgary, started with the Stampeders. And what a time when they had Doug Flutie, on to Jeff Garcia, and then Dickinson, Henry Burris. And now as a head coach since 2016 and looking for win number 100. And leading the way right now. Got a 2-point lead late first half. Another carry there by Mills, a few yards shy of a first down running that play.
Well, you know, this offense has scored over 30 points per game this year. I mean, this offense has been ultra productive, and partly is because of field position, partly because, you know, they have the playmakers, and Vernon Adams off to a great start to the season at the halfway point here. But you know, we're talking record-setting pace when it comes to scoring for this offense.
Highest scoring team in the CFL. Here's Quincy Vaughn. 3rd and 1. Vaughn tries to the right. It's stuffed up a bit, but then he goes back to the left. And it looks like he will have enough down to the 15 to have that first down. You talked about how short yardage was in focus for Calgary in a bad way in Toronto last week when they weren't able to make it, running out a shotgun on a running play and turned it over, and the Argos ended up winning on a field goal.
Just a few people talking about that this week here in Calgary, that's for sure. And they didn't decide to go with Quincy Vaughn in that case, and decided to go shotgun, 3rd and 1, a tie game, just about 2 minutes to go on Toronto's half of center field, and didn't get it. Now, if they got it, fans would say, what a great call that was.
Hindsight's 20/20 always. Adams back, pressure coming. Lofts went into the end zone. Coverage is there. And it's a touchdown for Eric Brooks. It looked like Ronald Kent had it. Could have been an interception. But one-on-one, and they fight for it. It's 87, red and white, coming up with the football, and the Stampeders have their first touchdown of the night.
Well, first of all, it's Mike Benavides deciding to go with the full blitz package, pressure on Vernon Adams. So he's got to retreat. He knows there's no safety in the middle. This is the opening. He's got a post to Brooks, and he just has to get the time. There's a free hitter, but he has to get the time to get it out. But you're right, Ronald Kent was underneath that, almost playing it like a punt. He's saying there's offensive interference, and Brooks just stole the ball.
Brooks just saying, I believe you have my football, but the point after try from Mickey goes wide to the right. So after Mickey had hit 3 field goals, he misses that point after, but still 6 more on the board for the Calgary Stampeders, and Eric Brooks contested. He won the contest. Calgary touchdown.
Play by the BC Lions, maybe a little red zone defense as well. But you know what I'm really excited about? Something we like to call straight fire! Give me more energy, guys. Come on, more.
Love that segment.
Straight fire from Eric Brooks there.
Straight fire for Eric Brooks, because he won the jump ball, and he's only 5'7".
And wrestled it away from Ronald Kent Jr. We get a 15-7 Calgary lead. 8 points on top, and here's a big return. That is Stanley Berryhill back on the offense and also back in the return game as well. He was injured in their first game in Saskatchewan, just coming off the 6.
5'7", 176, and coming out of that slot back spot, 4 receivers to the wide side of the field. Again, full blitz on Vernon Adams, so he's just got to get it out of there, and he does. Now, Ronald Kent's in great position, but he loses the jump ball in the fight. It's not about the size of the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog, right?
And Brooks won that one. Handing off. Horvath keeps running. Look, a little confusion there with the Stampeders defense as he gets it all the way to the Calgary 50. A gain of 20 for Horvath. His play seemed to slow down for a moment as Rourke handed it off to Horvath.
Yeah, there was a little bit of hesitation, wasn't there, from the Calgary defense here. The misdirection that pulled linebackers to the line of scrimmage.
So they run tempo, and Rourke takes off. He'll have a first down. He'll have more. Nathan Rourke gets as much as he can in 2 running plays. Here comes BC again, 29 more yards.
Yeah, this is one of those tough plays for defensive players when the quarterback especially is down the sideline, and you know you can't really hit him. You're kind of expecting him to hook slide or either run out of bounds. He doesn't. Keeps tiptoeing down there another 7 or 8 yards, and now you're kind of like, should have gone up there and hit him.
Nathan Rourke came in with 7 carries for 71 yards rushing, so that gets him to an even 100 on that game. And close to the 20. And back to Horvath. Feeling his way through, putting his head down, driving his way to a good pickup again on the ground and first down. 2nd and short ahead here for BC.
See, in this run, both him and James Butler would attack it the same way with patience, find the hole, coming up with patience. And the difference for Horvath and Butler is once he makes contact right here. Okay, now he's got contact and he gets 3 or 4 more after that contact because he's so strong.
So 2nd straight time into the red zone. They had a 5-play 91-yard drive before. This one, it's all ground game so far on that 2nd down and short, and he's still pulling his way. You had talked about where is Horvath in the first quarter. We hardly saw him at all. Seen him a lot in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, the 2nd quarter, and in the touchdown drive, he was a big part of that. In fact, finished that drive, and now on the doorstep again in the starting lineup. And again, total full respect for James Butler. You know, if I have to pick a back, give me James Butler any day. He's got a 100-yard game. He's a great blocker. He can break loose and get in the open field, but Horvath's a special player.
We get another 1st and goal coming up here from the 9 for BC. Coming right back. 4-man rush. A look to the end zone. Caught. Keon Hatcher. Touchdown BC. And a 2-point conversion away from tying this game.
Well, I would suggest that touchdown throw and catch is important for that pair. In Nathan Rourke and in Keon Hatcher, his #1 guy, have been a little bit off in the last game and a half. This is going to go a long way to change that. Get Keon Hatcher back. That's a big one.
He's been BC's top receiver, tops in the CFL last year, and yes, they will go for 2 to tie this ball game. But yeah, Hatcher had a couple of moments last week where you could tell he was out of sync. One that went off the fingertips and was picked off by Hamilton. But a big touchdown there. The slick conditions here in the Calgary end zone. Horvath trying to run it in for 2. Breaks a couple of tackles, but not that one by Ben LaBrosse. Comes in and makes sure he can't get into the end zone. So here we go again. They trade 6s this time around, the Stamps and the Lions, and it's once again a 2-point BC lead. But that Lions offense has certainly woken up. Back-to-back touchdown drives. This one to Keon Hatcher.
The route from Keon Hatcher here is a nice dig route across the middle. He's the middle receiver, He is the middle receiver in this trip set to the boundary, and he's going to get inside leverage with no safety in the middle. So there's his inside leverage, and there's no safety help in the middle. So Nathan Rourke knows I just got to throw him open because he's got inside leverage. Damon Webb caught a little shallow there.
Well, BC getting back in this game, but with quick possessions. The time of possession, 19 minutes to 9 for Calgary. They've had the longer drives. And here's McAllister, another return. Ridley Apollon knocking him out of bounds. The Stamps take over, 1:41 in the clock. They have the 2-point lead. They certainly could move the football. Their last possession went 9 plays, 64 yards, and that was in over 6 minutes of time. Now looking to quickly get down to add to their lead.
Vernon Adams knows how much time is left. I mean, there's a minute 41. There's time to get in at least field goal range.
And remember, with Mickey, the range he has is a 57 on the season against BC, and one tonight of 55 yards. Something to think about. They can get a few first downs here. 4-man rush. And no, knocked away at the line by Nathan Cherry. Got his hands up. They were trying to swing it out to Dedrick Mills.
So I've got an insider note here. Talked to a league official, and there may be a discussion on changing the knockdown here, leaving it as a knockdown there at the line of scrimmage, but if it's a DB that gets a knockdown, it's the PBU. We've been talking about this for a while. Pass broken up, and it may happen. They're discussing it. There's a little insider information.
Okay, well, we'll look for that stats change. Here's VA, and no, intended there for Mills on that side. So this is a quick 2-and-out. By the way, it always amazed me, Willie Jefferson ranks among the DBs in that stat, even though he's a defensive lineman and has knocked down a lot of football. It makes that stat even more remarkable for Willie J.
Yeah, for sure. But it's so different.
It is.
I mean, the PBU for a defensive back or linebacker in the open field and coverage is one thing. Sticking your hand up at the line of scrimmage and getting your hands on it there is completely different. Yeah. So there is discussions, and I know I won't be a great insider, but that's just heard a little inside information on that.
First I've heard of it. I knew that shouldn't be your gauge. Pressure coming, and the punt by Bassett does get away, but a lot of heat coming in there for BC as it rolls out of bounds. It's still a 55-yard punt, and nearly blocked by the Lions. They're down at their 25-yard line late in the half. Strength, skill, and stamina. It's going to take it to win it on a new season of The Amazing Race Canada. That's all new Tuesdays on CTV, and you can stream it the next day on Crave. Amazing Race.
How would you and I do in that?
It depends on the category. If it's,
if they have to eat
snacks and taking naps and, studying depth charts and all that fun stuff. Well, it can't be running tremendous distances right now. I'm afraid you're on your own.
Well, we both might be in trouble there.
It all depends on the categories. Here we go. Nathan Rourke late in the first half. A deep ball, and LaBrosse is there. Knocking it away, as mentioned, Stanley Berryhill just injected back in this lineup. He was part of a slew of receivers that were injured right at the start of the season. Opening night in Saskatchewan, and Berryhill on the 6th game just finally coming back.
Yeah, they lost Stanley Berryhill that game. Got away with one there. You think Hicks wants to get a holding call?
Well, they're one of the sack leaders coming into the game, Clarence Hicks, who had been tied with Matthew Betts, who's moved ahead, but yeah, not too happy there.
Just shaking his head like, come on now.
A speedy defensive end for the Calgary Stampeders. So, second down and 10, 1:16 on the clock. Time.
They got him this time.
And we got a flag out now as Rourke tosses it down. It's caught. And what a catch. And what a play for Stanley Berryhill. But is this thing all for naught? Is it coming back?
10 yards
coming
penalty.
Back. Same guy, same matchup, same player in Clarence Hicks, but this time they saw the holding. Off the edge, look at the inside move. Once again, it's Tyron Hunt, and you can see and this time he's got the hands in the air, and he saw the flag go. Yep, we got it this time.
6 penalties, 55 yards, and what makes this more remarkable is BC has said least penalized team coming in, Calgary most penalized. What a difference in this particular game late in the first half.
Takes a big play off the board too. Wow.
And Clarence Hicks is just glad they caught that one, right? Going to work again on a draw to Horvath. Late 2nd and 20, the BC 14. And the gain is 6, so they'll have to punt it away. We're under a minute, 59 seconds on the clock, and then we'll head to Kate Burness Enoch Mwamba, Davis Sanchez, Milt Stiegel, the band's back together, back in the studio.
Well, some of them can run. They could run in the Amazing Race. I don't know if you
would be better off teaming with any of them.
If there was a fishing derby, in the Amazing Race, then maybe. Tyreek McAllister could make a big difference here, get at least another field goal attempt in time for the Calgary Stampeders with a return of any kind here. About 20-yarder.
Carl Meyer, the punt. Tyreek McAllister, 57-yard punt. Let's look for the return here. Half a minute to go as he heads out of bounds. Well, 15 points on the board for Calgary, a little below their pace. We look at the Fisher investment stat of the game. You talked about this earlier. Points per game, and it's a record pace so far by this Calgary team. Trying to beat the record of the 1994 Calgary Stampeders, most ever. And a quarterback, I believe, by the name of Doug Flutie, who wasn't bad.
Well, guess who else was in that quarterback room that year? Jeff Garcia.
That's not bad either. Learning from Flutie, I'm sure, in the Canadian game. Alan Pitts, 2,000-yard season. What a remarkable Stamp team, year after year. So, if this Calgary team top that, just want to win this game tonight. Mills catching it. He backtracks a bit, and a nice tackle there in the open field by Deontay Williams. 8-yard pickup, but prevents him from getting the first down. 22 seconds to go. Dude, look at that average, though. And this is, defense, special teams helping out that number 2 suits, but 39.1 to lead the way. And bursting through to get the first down. 15 seconds to go. Down to the BC 52. As mentioned, the range of Mickey-Tamney, who's got quite a leg and can certainly hit him in the high 50s.
10, 15 yards here from VA, and he's in his wheelhouse. There it is.
Definitely in the Mickey-Tamney range. Now Clark Barnes with his first catch of this game inside the 40. So Calgary's going to have a good chance with 7 seconds to go to add to their lead as the field goal unit is coming on.
Clock management. You could tell the jump in his legs when VA was running out to the huddle that he knew under a minute, but he still had time to at least get in field goal range. Now it's up to Mickey-Tamney.
Australian kicker Jude Mickey-Tamney. First 3 possessions for Calgary. He hit 3 field goals. He missed an extra point. But for field goals to go 4 for 4, final play first half, he puts it through. 44 out. And the Stampeders, who've led the entire time, BC's had some spirited drives to pick up touchdowns and get this closer, but it is still Dave Dickinson's Calgary Stampeders leading the way, and Nathan Rourke heads off. The Lions still with some work to do.
Slow start for the BC Lions offensively, and give full credit to the Calgary defense. But VA is in this offense. Calgary has been pretty consistent, and that was the play of the first half when Brooks took it from Ronald Kent, who looked like he had an interception. Brooks is down with Britt right now.
Eric, this week your coach said the biggest thing was winning one-on-one battles. You took that to heart. Talk to me about how that's a testament to your competitive nature, coming down with the ball on that touchdown.
I mean, it just speaks to, me and the whole room. The trust they put into us as receivers and the offense, and ultimately VA, giving me the opportunity to go make that play. So the fact that he has trusted me to put that ball up in a one-on-one situation, I feel like I owe it to him to come down with it.
This group also talked a lot about complementary football. How do you feel like this group has done so far in the first 2 quarters?
So far, I feel like we're playing well off each other. Obviously, there's things we can improve on. We got down into the red zone 3 times and came away with field goals. So we'd like to convert those to 6 so we can see our lead grow a little bit more.
We know the rain's kind of going in stages. How are you enjoying the elements right now?
Oh, it's fun. It's like playing when you're a little kid, growing up, and, in the backyard or with your friends anywhere. It's just raining. We're all running around having fun, just playing the game we love.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Well, there you heard it.
At the half. Some work to do, but some spark in the second quarter, and a big part of that, Xander Horvath standing by with Brett.
Well, you were utilized through the air and on the ground, got a touchdown, and now you're tied for the league lead with your number of touchdowns. What do you like about your role in this offense on this team?
I like just the versatility I bring. They allow me, I'm grateful for it, to play more positions this year compared to last year. So, with the short yardage and everything too, it's great when we're doing it on the goal line. So obviously it helps with touchdowns, but I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to do more for this team.
It felt like this offense started to pick up a little more momentum as the game went on. What do you think is going to be key for this group in the third quarter here?
Just carrying that over. I mean, we don't have to overcomplicate it. Just whatever coach calls, go out and execute. Everyone just do their job. Keep it simple, and don't make things harder for yourself.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Didn't see much of Xander Horvath in the first quarter. In the second, those 7 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. And Nathan Rourke, 6 for 9, 121, but again, Suits, more productive in that second quarter as things got going.
Yeah, they've been slow starters all year. I mean, there's been 5 or 6 games now that they haven't scored a point in the first quarter. So it shouldn't be a surprise to Lions fans.
BC had deferred in the coin toss after winning it, wanting the ball to start the second half as they do. And it is Stanley Berryhill back in on special teams as well as offense for the Lions. Some pushing and shoving after the fact. But yeah, Xander Horvath, who can be a very explosive player for BC. Here's a little work of what he did mostly second quarter.
Yeah, it was interesting discussion by the panel and Milt Stegall talking about Horvath versus Butler and how they're both great backs, both imports. So that changes the ratio a little bit for Buck Pierce. He has to balance it. Horvath had 7 carries for 45 yards, mostly in the second quarter, and he scored that touchdown in that quarter as well. But it's a tough decision. You know, I mean, it's almost like it may be better for the running backs if Buck Pierce decided, let's give Horvath 1 game,
right,
and give James Butler the next game. They can still both be on the roster and sub in when they're tired for a play or two, but it'll be just their game rather than go series to series
67.
or quarter to quarter.
Unnecessary roughness against BC number 36.
So Andre Proulx announcing penalties. Unnecessary roughness against the Lions. Goes back 5 yards. It was conflicting penalties in Calgary as well. So up at the 30 now. That's where Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions offense will go to work. Down by 5. They've been down by 9 at one point and got back into it quickly too in the second quarter. And there's James Butler, and running well too. He had a good hole, and he's got a good pickup there as he is taken down by Anthony Johnson. But that's 7 or 8 yards there for BC. Second and short ahead.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a good problem for Buck Pierce to have 2 quality backs like this. And by the way, when you compare Butler and Horvath in the protection game, blocking for Nathan Rourke, both have not given up a sack all year long.
Yeah, Butler had been renowned for being a very good blocking back, and we saw that from Horvath too. Butler, former 1,000-yard rusher, and that's the gift to Horvath. So 1-2, and he's breaking loose. Alexander trying to track him down and wrestle him down after Xander Horvath, who really broke out last year with a 70-yard touchdown run here at McMahon Stadium, has a 41-yarder to get it deep into the Stampeders territory.
Good down block inside to give Xander Horvath a little bit of room. You're going to see a nice down block. And when you do and you get that little crease, then here comes Horvath, and there's the difference. After contact, the power that Horvath brings.
So we've seen both Butler and Horvath in this possession. That big play by Horvath. Butler is back in beside Nathan Rourke. And now he has the ball, but Clarence Hicks comes in and says no. Denied. Taken down for nothing. No gain there, and a 2nd and 10 ahead for BC.
Yeah, Clarence Hicks almost played the play. And just in what I mean by that, like, disregard your assignment really and just go to the run game. Because as an edge player like that, he knows he might have Damon Webb as a secondary contain man. But if he goes out and in there inside too quickly, Nathan Rourke can pull it and get around the corner.
So it stays at the 31, a 2nd and 10. BC still without a lead in this game, trailing by 5. Rourke quickly over the middle and caught down close to the 20. And that is Javon Catoy, who had such a great return after being on the 6th game with a thigh injury last week when he had 7 catches for over 100 yards. 11 there for Catoy. They run tempo, working right away, faking, and then Rourke just has to eat the ball there. Hicks is coming in, Moncrief coming in, and they've got a sack with a flag down.
Too many players. Too many players. Calgary, 10-yard penalty, first down.
A substitution issue. And I guarantee you that Nathan Rourke felt like there were too many players out there on that last play.
Trying to get that substitution done, but they do catch the Stamps running the play.
10 on defense, 5 on offense.
The explanation from Andre Proulx, and Calgary had not taken a penalty. The most penalized team in the league had not taken a penalty in the first half, but penalized there. Now we've got a 1st and goal for Rourke and the Lions. Right at the 10. Faking to Horvath. Rolling, trying to get away from Falarner, and Malati does. 5, diving for the pylon, and that is a BC Lions touchdown. 10-yard TD, Nathan Rourke, and his 2nd rushing touchdown of the year.
Such a cat-and-mouse game on the edge when you've got great defensive ends like Clarence Hicks and Rimolade, and trying to hold them or freeze them at the line of scrimmage long enough so your quarterback can get outside and around the edge. We saw it when he made the big throw down the field in the first half, set up a touchdown. This time he gets outside and runs it in himself, but that little handoff fake underneath held a Rimolade just long enough to get Rourke out and around the corner.
Well, a good job on the whole for BC. And the Sean White kick, Carl Meyer got it down. He bobbled that snap, but they get the point after. They had been trailing by 5, and now they lead it by 2 after this. Nathan Rourke runs it in for BC. First time this game. The Lions.
Most game between Nathan Rourke trying to hold the defensive end, and watch Rimolade's feet, because his responsibility is to close the gap off the edge for the run and then stop. So he is now hopped down a couple of yards, and instead of taking an angle like this to cut off Rourke, he goes straight up the field. Rourke gets outside him because of his angle, and now he's got a free run with no secondary contained to the pylon.
And Rourke with 2nd rushing touchdown of the season, 10 yards. He gets 39 yards rushing on the night. Here's McAllister on the return. And it's Riley Pickett on the tackle, but yet another solid return for McAllister as Vernon Adams, Calgary. They've responded nicely so far in this game in the 2nd quarter, driving down for a touchdown the last time BC had scored. But now they find themselves trailing for the first time in this game.
Yeah, Vernon Adams had a pretty good first half, 11 of 17, 131 yards, and a touchdown throw with a great catch by Eric Brooks that the panel talked about at halftime. And, you know, sprinkling in a little bit of run from Dedrick Mills, who had 48 yards rushing. There's the Brooks. Vernon Adams threw to 7 different guys, which he loves to do. And shares the wealth.
Yeah, he just dumped it off for Joe in his debut with the Stampeders, who tried to one-hand it a little bit behind him, but it falls incomplete.
Well, coming into this game, Vernon Adams, 5 receivers, have all been over 30 targets, all over 300 yards, and all have 2 or more touchdowns. All 5 of them. That's quite rare.
It is.
To have that kind of equal distribution to all your guys. And as we talked about in the first half, with a JoJo back and Damian Alford back in the lineup, maybe Bagleton, just get stronger.
So 22 touchdowns this season. Latest Aaron Brooks. Taking that one as Brooks. Picked it up behind the line, and a good amount of yardage after the catch to get a first down close to midfield for Calgary.
And by the way, and we've talked about this before, when you have great players behind you on the depth chart, it pushes you like
little nudge.
It pushes you like no other coach speech can. I mean, you know, I'm talking Clark Barnes, Eric Brooks, Dejan Brissett. These are guys that, with Alfred on the lineup now and a Joe around and Bagleton on his way back, you got to be on top of your game now.
Everybody's got to stay sharp. Well, with Brooks there, they get it up to the 53, 12-yard pickup, and a first down. And Adams quickly off to the right, and that was just over the fingertips of T.J. Lee, and a chance for Clark Barnes, but he can't make the catch. Second down.
Maybe it puts a little more pressure on the starting receivers as well. I think T.J. Lee distracted him. He's out there at the wideout spot. And Barnes made a spectacular catch last week against Toronto. And I think TJ Lee just got in his field of vision for that split second.
See his coach Ryan Phillips getting fired up on the sideline, the big jump there before he...
By the way, going to the Wall of Fame in BC.
Absolutely, and well-deserved. Ryan Phillips had a great career. And that throw from VA the other way, back to Clark Barnes, across midfield. And it is well shy of a first down, so 3rd and long coming up here. There's Ryan Phillips.
49 career interceptions. I still tease him. He's a little short. But him and Travis Lulay going into the BC Wall of Fame, BC Lions Wall of Fame at the end of the month. And hopefully be in attendance to see the ceremony. And you're right, well deserved. Great BC Lion. And boy, did he have Darian Durant's number.
42-yard punt there for Mark Bassett, and Delon Thomas, one of the special teams tackles leaders in the CFL. And that tackle there on Stanley Berryhill. So BC football, they have the league at the half. Police versus firefighters. Little flag football action. And how about Canada on the world stage? Hoping to have an update on that when we come back. In Dusseldorf, Germany, the women's team winning both. 2-0 record on the day. And as for the men's team going up against the second-ranked team in the world, Austria, Canada coming up with a victory there for Paul LaPolice's squad.
They did, and they also, because of a default, because the team they were supposed to play didn't have passports and couldn't get them in time, they're 2-0 as well, technically, and play Japan coming up. So
all the best to both the women's team and for Paul LaPolice and the men's side as well. So BC football, they have the 2-point lead. Play action pass coming up to Keon Hatcher. Another big catch for Hatcher. Out of bounds, his 3rd catch of the night.
And by the way, the top teams in the Germany tournament and the World Championships get into the Olympics in 28.
Big moment for Canada to get there.
They'll qualify if they win. So good luck to both the men and the women. Keep it up. Nice catch by. The chemistry looks like it's coming back between Keon Hatcher and Nathan Rourke.
Yeah, Hatcher with a touchdown from Rourke earlier on in the night. The first half, there's Xander Horvath and nothing at all. That's Kyle Wilson. And a big defensive play in Toronto last week early in the game, forcing a fumble that nearly went for a touchdown. Even though they lost that game, the defense for Calgary had some big plays in that one.
Yeah, and the new playbook there, you could see in his eyes for Kyle Wilson to maybe go low on Xander Horvath. Try to cut his legs out, because you go high on him, keep going.
Got some power. Neutralized there. 2nd and 10 at the BC 33. They have the 20-18 lead halfway through the 3rd quarter. 4-man rush. Rourke off to the right. It is caught outside the 40, and that is Horvath, who gets used time to time as a receiver too, as well as a running back, and that's a 9-yard pickup.
Close enough for short yardage.
Where he could handle that department.
Well,
too.
yeah, he takes the snap on that one.
He got his 11th touchdown of the season earlier tonight. 8 of them have been rushing, 3 receiving touchdowns. And there is Horvath. That quarterback short yardage, left side, hops over and through, and that is enough. Had to get to the 44 to pick up a BC first down.
Rourke was behind Xander Horvath on that play, and you remember the trick play that they had earlier in the season where the snap went between the legs of Horvath right to Nathan Rourke.
That was against Edmonton and Kelowna.
Yes, against Edmonton Kelowna, and also in the game against Calgary and Kelowna, Rourke caught a pass from Keon Hatcher. So all kinds of moments where Buck Pierce is going deep into the playbook at times.
Dig down in that bag of tricks, see what they come up with. Keep a defense honest. 1st and 10. Lions 44. Trailed at the half, but they have the lead now. Handing off. Horvath having a busy time, and he is tackled by Clarence Hicks for a 4-yard pickup.
Boy, that balance really does slow the pass rush, doesn't it? I mean, when Bob Slowick is he wants to cut his guys loose. Clarence Hicks, He wants to cut Rimolade loose and let him get after Nathan Rourke. Try and get tackles in the backfield. You have a good, strong running back and running game. It really neutralizes that pass rush.
Horvath has 11 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown. And didn't get any touches really in the first quarter. Throwing, caught. Keon Hatcher, and down to the Calgary 40. Another big first down, BC.
I don't think I missed any, but I don't think Keon Hatcher has dropped one tonight. And this one he fought with a little bit. Had to fight this one a little bit here. Double clutched it, but hung on.
They run tempo, and Rourke is hauled down there by Kyle Wilson, who's taking off to the right. So a 2nd and 10 right at the Calgary 40. Buck Pierce, 2nd-year head coach, BC. Slow start last year, but then they really came on late in the season. Had a tidy winning streak going right into the West Final in Saskatchewan, and that came down to the final drive where it was the Riders winning and going to the Grey Cup. The blitz, Rourke tries to get away. Before he goes down, he dumps it off in the area of Hatcher, and that's all he could do. Is the Stampeders were bringing pressure and forcing a 3rd down now.
Yeah, it looked like it was Micah Tights who's going to be added in here, and he comes quickly off the edge. Actually, it wasn't Tights. It was R.J. Moten coming clean. But Moten comes clean. Now the question is, was he down by contact before he got rid of this? His knee's down there, and the ball's still in his hand.
Well, that's important, too, because they're lining up for a field goal right now. A 48-yard try it would be for Sean White.
The quarterback knee was down before he threw the football. The ball will be placed at the 46-yard line. 3rd down.
So that's a sack, and that's 6 yards back, and that's big because the field goal unit is now going to head off.
See Nathan Rourke just shaking his head there. Want to get rid of this a little bit sooner, but Moten came so clean, he was just trying to avoid that, and then Hicks ends up getting home. That knee is down, though.
So too far for a field goal try now. So Sean White goes off, and Carl Meyer, who had been the holder, of course, but also the punter, standing at his 50. And you got Eric Brooks, and then 34, Tyreek McAllister, who had a punt return touchdown 7 weeks ago against the Lions in Kelowna. With 3 return touchdowns this season. Heads Brooks' way instead. 39-yard punt inside the 10. Eric Brooks does well just to get it up to the 12. Coverage unit does a good job there for BC. Josh Haggerty in there, among several others. And Brooks, who had a touchdown catch in the first half, stays on for offense. Calgary football trailing by 2. Schedule, and you see what happened there. A couple of wins in that narrow defeat against Toronto, and now they start a 3-game homestand. They got the Lions, and then they'll have Hamilton, and then you got Labor Day getting closer, and the Edmonton Elks coming to town.
Yeah, and you know that Hamilton-Toronto Eastern swing, they stayed out there between those 2 games, and that sometimes can be a little team time, which is important. Guys get together, hang out, a little bonding going on, can help you.
Beat the Ticats, and then said came down to a field goal in Toronto last week. So back home, trailing BC right now, and a short pickup there for Diedrich Mills. But what do? You got that team bonding going in Southern Ontario, and bowling is always good for team bonding.
Absolutely. I call it team time. You know, it's team time when you're playing together and practicing together and all that, but it's also team time when you're out there hanging out, barbecuing, going to restaurants together. There's Nakanu, who was the big winner in bowling, apparently, and holds that title. But it goes a long way. The Lions did it, too, in Kelowna.
Absolutely. They had that opportunity. Back-to-back games there. Flags out with the snap of the ball there on a 2nd and 9.
Said it many times, but every team has great
procedure.
talent.
Calgary number 55, 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd.
You know, every team in the league has great talent, and when you're at this level, you know, it's such a fine margin between winning and losing. So why do championship teams come together? Why do they take that next step, that next level? And I truly believe it's about that team time, when you can hang out together, get to know each other. You fight a little bit harder in those tough moments.
And it was the bowling champ, Christy McCann, who was flagged there for his early movement and flushed out on second and longer. Betts right after VA has to throw it away. Vernon Adams, no options there as he escaped the pocket, and it's a 3rd and 14. And BC's going to get the ball back in good shape here as Calgary's going to have to punt it from their end zone.
Deontay Demeray told us all about Matthew Betts' motor. There's a good low angle at it. I'd like to be VA with 90 chasing you like that.
Betts who had a sack in the first half. He's had some pressure on Vernon Adams, but the Lions now, defense does well, and they are to get it back in the punt by Mark Bassett. A good punt it is. 55 yards, Berryhill to midfield. He gets it to the Calgary 50, where Nathan Rourke can come back on and go to work on, see if they can add to this 2-point lead. When we come back, Britt's going to have more on the story of Javon Catoy. Boy, they're happy to have him back in the BC lineup.
Asking him, how many tickets did you need to get? And he said, well, I just finished talking to about 5 teammates trying to get all of their tickets for this game. So you can tell it means a lot to him to have this whole group in here, because he also said it would be really neat to make it to Grey Cup this year, which will be in Calgary, and to have all of them in attendance for it.
Yeah, that would be a real treat for Catoy and his family. And yeah, moved from St. Vincent when he was 9, but we asked him about that. He still considers Calgary home. Went to high school here, played for the Colts before moving on to the Langley Rams and going out of the juniors to the CFL. So on there with the Lions offense, James Butler back in at running back, and he just cannot get anything going. Again, it's Kyle Wilson with some help to prevent him from getting anything there.
Or was it just me, or a couple of those young family members were kind of doing the stink eye, because Javon's just got 1 catch so far in this game? I'd like to see, they're just kind of going, come on, throw it to our guy.
Get it to 86.
Yeah.
1 catch for 11 yards. He had 7 for over 100 last week in his return game. There is Javon Catoy. It's a 2nd down and 10 at the Calgary 50. BC 20, Stampeders 18. 4-man pressure. Rourke with time and nearly threaded that through for what would have been a great catch for Catoy. Tried to get to him. I guess he was listening, but not quite.
Well, on cue, and clearly the family is not impressed. They wanted a little bit tighter throw, but he'll do this well. Don't sleep on him for his speed going down the seam. Just a late reaction by the Calgary secondary prevents the catch, but
so that's the 4th 2 and out. Carl Meyer to punt it, standing at his 45. Tyreek McAllister, lone returner for Calgary, just inside the Stampeder 10. Chase back to the 5, drops the ball, picks it up after a 44-yard punt, and a good break there for the Stampeders. And McAllister, it could have been a bit more disastrous, but as it stands, it's Calgary football.
Tyreek was very calm and cool with the Lion cover team coming down on him. Watch how calm he is here. Ball goes straight through the bottom of the bucket. Yeah, no problem. Just let me grab it. Hang on. I got her. Okay, here we go.
With a little bit of rain coming down here, too, again at McMahon. But no problem for McAllister and Calgary now, except for the fact they are trailing late in the 3rd quarter now. Have been leading most of the way, heading into the 2nd half. Vernon Adams escapes the pocket, turns it up, but he can't escape the grasp. The BC defender moving in. That is Hayden Harris picking up the sack. Another sack for the Lions defense, and it comes at a very good time late in this quarter.
Yeah, that pocket completely started to collapse, and Hayden comes in across on a bit of a stunt up front. So not extra pressure, just four-man pressure. Should be enough there to block him, but he keeps working at it, goes through a couple of guys on the offensive line to get home, and because VA couldn't find a receiver, he gets there.
Hayden Harris, drafted in 25, his second year out of Montana, and his second sack of the season. So we get a 2nd and 19 now. Adams standing in his goal line. He's got lots of time, but he gets it underneath, and what a hit by Williams. Deontay Williams coming in just as the ball was arriving for Dedrick Mills. Quite a collision there as Mills gets up, but that's quarter time, and the Stampeders are going to have to punt it away.
How about an exclamation mark to end the quarter? And, you know, I don't think he gets a penalty because he hit with the chest, not led with the top of his helmet.
That collision, Williams on Mills. Yeah, exclamation mark to end quarter number 3. BC leading. Look at these numbers. Time of possession more BC. And how about red zone play?
Yeah, that early first quarter when Calgary was inside the red zone, 3 times and came away with 3 field goals, and a couple of times inside the 10 came away with 3 field goals. So that's the difference right now. They finished with majors there. They still have the lead right now.
It really is, because they dominated that first quarter. They really did. As you say, 3 times down and just couldn't get into the end zone. And yeah, that's coming back to bite them right now, because BC with Nathan Rourke has been a bit different team here in the second half. It's not in the second quarter too. They started matching touchdowns, but they have the 2-point edge. There's Stanley Berryhill, back in the lineup for just his second game this season. He was injured against the Riders back in their opener in week 2 in June. And Calgary has to give it back to BC from the end zone. Mark Bassett on that punt. Berryhill, well, his turn to bobble it after a 64-yarder, but a good return here midfield before he is tackled. And so Nathan Rourke and the Lions trying to add to that 2-point edge here as the fourth quarter begins. Start at midfield.
Yeah, big addition to get Berryhill back for this reason alone, and also very calm when that ball was bobbling around a little bit to corral it and then get upfield. Well, you need some courage to be a returner in pro football. 12 guys running full speed at you. You're going the opposite direction, full speed.
It stays in on offense. And Nathan Rourke quickly caught Hatcher, and he just keeps grinding with Damon Webb wrapped up around him, but he gets the first down for BC.
That was the type of play that Hatcher dropped that turned into an interception that you mentioned in the first half. Quick slant here, and he catches strong in his hands and then turns upfield. That one went through his hands last week and ended up intercepted. But I think this combination is back.
Keon Hatcher, 6 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown. And yes, with the rain coming down again, a different performance than he had last week against Hamilton at BC Place. First down, Xander Horvath. He's been productive in this game, and he continues to be productive with all sorts of red and white jerseys wrapped on him. He keeps bulling his way forward for extra yardage.
Well, this is just straight power. I mean, this is... Now, Horvath, he doesn't seem as big as he is when you see him on television. He's 6'3", 230. He gets the pad level down. I mean, that right there is Miles Brown, who weighs 305 pounds, and he's driving through Miles Brown's tackle. Wow.
With one leg. One of them being held, and he's pushing with the other, and he's at an even 100 yards rushing now for BC, and he's got the ball again left side. This time they decide, you know what? You've had enough yardage for now. You're not going to go any further. Clarence Hicks among those Stampeders to deny him. And that was on a second down and short play. They needed a couple of yards.
Kyle Wilson in there. Decision time for Buck Pierce. He can possibly make it a 5-point game inside the range of Sean White, who, by the way, is playing in his 250th game here tonight.
What a career for that man, Sean White.
Has only missed 3 times, but 2 of those were blocked.
That one blocked last week against the Ticats. His longest in the season is 43. This would be the longest to be put down. 45 yards out to increase the lead to 5. And Sean White puts it through. So BC, the better team in the second half. They had trailed coming in. They trailed by as many as 9. But a little extra effort, including 34.
Wow.
White. No quit in Xander Horvath. 2016 as head coach. Most wins with only one team. This is impressive. And John Hufnagel, he was coaching under him. And Hufnagel, one name you don't see there, Suits, is Wally Buono, of course, because he coached both of these teams for a long time.
Yeah, you don't see the late Don Matthews either because they had multiple teams. This is just with one team. Dave Dickinson looking at win number 100.
But he needs his team to come back in this final quarter. They trail by 5. They have the football, and it's Dedrick Mills who picks up 3 yards.
That was a heck of a play by Levi Bell, going right down the line of scrimmage to make that tackle on Dedrick Mills.
Actually, excuse me, Suits, Ludwig Choquette in at running back.
Or Choquette, yeah.
With Bell on the tackle. You hadn't seen Choquette yet in this game. It had been Mills all along.
He closed that gap in a hurry.
Mills at 52. Horvath from the second quarter on. They took a yard away, so he's still one shy of 100. Blitz coming on Adams. He takes off. Vernon Adams right up through the middle of a collapsing pocket, and it looks like he has enough for a first down. Stampeders. They fight for the football, but it looks to be still Calgary's, and let's see where they spot the football, and looks like an injury as well.
Well, first of all, VA looks injured. That's the headline, because this is not good.
A signal quickly. You see Deontay Demery signaling to quickly get on the field for the injured quarterback Vernon Adams at the end of that play. We saw Choquette had carried before. Dedrick Mills heading off to the dressing room, but concern now for Vernon Adams. The medical staff quickly on the field.
We'll take a look at his run here. I mean, to escape this pressure was amazing by Vernon Adams, and then tackled cleanly there. But I think he hit his forehead and the side of his helmet on the turf, and it came down hard. Right there. He's trying to protect himself. Lorenzo Malden in the rotation for the Lions. They'll take every precaution here.
Concern from both sides for Vernon Adams remains down on the field getting attention. His play got up and on his own walked off and is now in the tent. This is the moment that he got up. And remember, too, it's not just his Calgary teammates, but not long ago, TJ Lee, several other of the Lions players were his teammates as well before coming over from BC.
Well, that is just outstanding news. When you saw the hit and the head hit the turf as hard as it did, him to get up. He's in the medical tent now.
So Quincy Vaughn, the short yardage quarterback, is in. He would have been coming in anyway on this play on 3rd and 1. Dives across. He had to get to the 50. It looks like his furthest advancement did. See where they spot the ball, but it looked like he had enough there. Now, Vaughn listed, yes, it is, signaled by Andre Proulx. First down. Now, Vaughn is a 3rd string quarterback, 3 in the depth. Joshua Love, number 12, is now coming into the game to run this offense with Vernon Adams off in the tent, and might we presume at this point in time that his day is done. And Love coming on. You see his numbers.
Yeah, 2nd year for Josh Love out of San Jose State. Speaking of Jeff Garcia earlier.
That was his college, yeah.
That was his college as well.
And last year, 5 of 8 for 67 yards. That's the number of reps that he got. He hands off Choquette. another part of the story for the Calgary offense because Dietrich Mills, shortly before the injury to Vernon Adams, was seen heading off to the dressing room. Choquette, the backup, running back in. But yeah, Jeff Garcia won a Grey Cup in his final game with the Stampeders in 1998, but he came out of San Jose State. I remember talking to Josh Love back last year about coming from the same school as a famous Calgary Stampeder QB.
Well, Josh Love ranks third in San Jose State history. Garcia's number 5 and David Fales is number 1.
Second and 6 after the pickup by Choquette. And Love looking to throw for the first time. He does, and nearly picked off into a crowd. That was intended for Joe, but a couple of Lions defenders there as well. And so a 2 and out quickly for Love as he heads off. It's a 3rd and 6.
Yeah, got away with one here because 2 Lion defenders were sitting under this throw to a Joe.
C.J. Colden and Deontay Williams.
Yeah, they kind of ran into each other. Both looked at each other with this, come on. Come on, man.
Far side, far side.
So Love gets some reps. Calgary has to kick it away. Mark Bassett, and a good punt. After 44 yards, takes a roll and no chance at all of a return inside the 15.
Hey, nice job on that front cover.
Back at McMahon, and you know, the rain has been off and on, Suits, but really hasn't been as bad as we initially thought. There was a downpour about an hour before the game, and the forecast called for a lot more of it, but I'm sure slick conditions, but largely playable the way it's gone here tonight.
Yeah, completely different than the forecast.
Absolutely, and we're thankful for that. You're going to be wrong, and it's a good way to be wrong about it. Outside the 10, BC going to work with a lead, 5-point lead, but nothing there. Elijah Hills, one of the rotational defensive linemen, coming in. And for that big tackle, a loss of a couple of yards.
Yeah, Calgary now defensively, because of Horvath's success in the second quarter and a little bit in the third and early in the fourth, now are just starting to play that run, especially on first down. Bringing in the fresh Elijah Hills from Wisconsin. Fresh legs. Tackle for a loss on Horvath.
Well, we had him at 100 at one point. They took away a yard, and now that's a loss of a couple, so he's at 97 rushing in this game. Quick movement there. A little too quick for Hicks. Looks
Nice.
like an offside Calgary coming up.
Yeah, nice hard count there by Nathan Rourke to use his cadence.
Defensive offside. Calgary number 1. 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
Use that cadence and hard count. Let's listen up. There's also a little hand movement there too. It's subtle. Little head bob, slight head bob. Sometimes that can be illegal if you do it too drastically to get Hicks to jump.
That's the Stamps' 4th penalty. They've been averaging 9, all 4 coming in this half. 4-man pressure underneath. It's complete to Horvath. Markel Lee has to chase him down, and a good pickup after the catch to get it up to the 30, and that's a first down for the BC Lions.
Watch Horvath put his left foot in the ground and break outside here, and this is what surprises defenders, I think. He hasn't had a whole bunch of playing time going back even the last 2 years, but he puts his foot in the ground there and then bounces outside, and Markel Lee says, wow, he's got some speed to get out there. 15-yard gain in a crucial situation, get him out of the hole.
It's deceptive about Horvath because you see the power. We saw that a few times tonight. He does have some pretty good breakaway speed and manages for a while to get away from Markel Lee, and a first down up at their 30. 5-point lead, 6:42 in the clock here in the fourth quarter. And that handoff again as he pulls his way up to, well, the 35, but 5-yard pickup. 5 more yards, definitely over 100 now for Xander Horvath.
Nice pull here by Corey Woodruff. And a nice little inside play here. Watch Corey Woodruff lead the way, and then Horvath in behind him from the left tackle position. Just get in there, get to the linebacker. Horvath cuts right up the middle. He didn't want to give it to him. Nathan Rourke said, no, I want it. And Horvath goes, yeah, no, I got something here, man. I got something.
Usually that option belongs to the quarterback, doesn't it? 2nd and 5. Caught. First down and more. That's Justin McInnes. A quieter day for McInnes, who has himself a catch. First catch after busier against Hamilton last week.
Boy, McInnes shoots the flat here. You see him just to the left of your screen. He's going to shoot the flat and be wide open. He's outside of any Calgary defender, and he has time to turn the corner and go straight up the field. I mean, this is a 27-yard gain, a wide open Justin McInnes. That was a bust by Calgary's defense, and isn't that a great sign?
Yeah, good to see Vernon Adams back in the Stampeders sideline after that hit that he took and went into the tent. We saw in the last possession was Josh Love at quarterback, handing on James Butler is back in the game. Seen them both use Horvath out there in the field as well. 3 yards for Butler on that first down play.
Well, and both will block for each other. And if you're wondering, they have such great mutual respect. I mean, this is a running back room where they are just cheering each other on. If it's Butler's turn, Horvath's over on the sideline cheering him on, and vice versa.
Timeout, Calgary.
So 5:10 on the clock in the 4th, and the Stampeders call a timeout.
Well, it's a big down here.
It is.
I mean, this with another 5-8 yards, Dave Dickinson knows that it could go to 2 possessions. I mean, it goes to 8 if it's a field goal. If they score the major, it goes to 2. So they want to be clear here.
Balance of the Week 11 schedule. Just getting started tonight. Friday Night Football from Winnipeg tomorrow. The Red Blacks still looking for that first win against the Blue Bombers, and Zach Collaros back for Winnipeg. And then Saturday, Toronto against Edmonton, the doubleheader. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders just a little bit by percentage points now ahead of the Edmonton Elks, looking to keep it going against the Ticats in Hamilton. Here's Rourke. Under pressure, gets it away. It's intercepted. Anthony Johnson still going. What a turn of events in this ball game is Johnson. With BC pressing again, gets the pick and takes it all the way down deep into the Lions zone.
Pocket was collapsing on Nathan Rourke, and you know he wants this one back. In fact, as soon as he let it go, he wanted to reel it back in, but he didn't have time.
Anthony Johnson got his first interception of the season last week off Chad Kelly. That's number 2. And with a team down 5 points in the 4th quarter, yes, Bob Slowick. Time to get fired up for Calgary. You betcha.
By Anthony Johnson. Let's see. It sounds like there may be a challenge on this play. Their refs are sorting it out, but it's about the timing of the throw. He's outside in coverage here. And if Nathan Rourke, the pressure is starting to get and collapse that pocket. If he throws it right now into the middle, he's got a chance here. That's his intended target. But he waits, and that gives Anthony Johnson a chance to cut underneath that. And now we'll see what the holdup was from the officials. And
on the previous play,
There we
BC
go.
is challenging for roughing the passer. The play is being reviewed.
Well, let's take a look at that now. An aspect of the game. Markel Lee.
Looking at the Lee movement right with his right hand up around.
Yeah, timing
the
was
collar.
good. Timing was good. I'm not sure if they'll classify that around the neck of Nathan Rourke as roughing the passer.
But Suits, they had called another penalty based on number by Chris Schlugger and an illegal block that had tacked on yardage. Right now they have it down at the BC 10 after that return by Anthony Johnson.
So this is a big call.
Just huge with a
monster
team,
call.
a team that needs a touchdown to get back into the lead, trailing by 5. Still, albeit lots of time, just under 5 minutes to go. So there's a challenge for roughing the passer, and here's Andre Proulx with the result from the replay center.
Upon review by the replay center, there was no infraction for roughing the passer. On the last play, there was a low block, an illegal low block by BC number 57, which is a major foul, 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play, and a first down Calgary.
So Anthony Johnson had got it down around the 20. They tack on 15 suits. It is down, as mentioned, to the 10. It's a first and goal coming up here now. Calgary can retake the lead with a touchdown. What a turnaround.
Sudden change moment here.
Is it ever. Momentum swing, and it's Joshua Love at quarterback. Oh! And end zone look, and a flag comes out as well. Deontay Williams putting his hands up. They flag him for the coverage and the intended receiver, but that heat was coming by the BC Lions on Joshua
pass
Love.
Interference. BC number 9.
That's going to put it on the 1 yard line.
The ball will be placed on the 1 yard line. First down.
Josh Love takes a huge hit here to deliver this throw, but if he doesn't get it out of his hands, it's possibly half the distance because it's an illegal contact penalty at the other end. Because he does get this out, it's pass interference on Deontay Williams.
And then from the one lunging in, that's a touchdown for Calgary. Quincy Vaughn scores an important touchdown here to give the Stamps the lead again. That is the 8th touchdown for Quincy Vaughn. And it all turned in a couple of plays. The interception, a penalty to get him down to the 10, another penalty to get down to the 1, and now do they go for 2?
Go for 2 and make it a 3-point game if you can make it.
Chris Fortin, the center, gets to finish things off with the spike there and the Vaughn touchdown. So with BC appearing to be in control, and that Rourke pass for Keon Hatcher picked by Anthony Johnson, and with the backup quarterback in for what appears to be the duration, Love, penalties help. They get down close, they get it. Now they're looking for 2 to make it a field goal lead. He takes a look in, and it's caught, and it's 2 more, and it's Damian Alford, the second-year Stamp, back in the Calgary lineup, and 2 big points. A field goal difference with 4:02 in the clock here in the 4th.
The Moose is back on the loose. Damian Alford with the Moose antler celebration on the fade route, straight fade, and he makes a strong hand catch to the back shoulder. But how about Josh Love coming off the bench, taking the big hit to get rid of that ball? That draws the penalty flag for pass interference, puts the ball on the 1 yard line, and because of the 2-point convert, Calgary takes a 3-point lead.
And good work by that big target Alford in his second year at Syracuse. The first taken overall in the CFL draft in 2025.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Back from his NFL tryout. Quincy Vaughn, that rushing touchdown. Another one for him. So some adversity for the Stampeders, to be sure, tonight. Losing their quarterback, losing their top running back. And momentum in the second half, it belonged to BC, but a quick swing now. Stampeders ahead by 3 with 4:02 to go. Mickattamney to kick off.
I don't know what to do with my hands right now.
Just rest them, Quincy. Just rest them. Stanley Berryhill. Right up the middle, the ball comes out. And it looks like the Stampeders have it. From bad to worse for BC by the looks of things. Berryhill lost the handle. Calgary football at the Lions 35.
Calgary Stampeders came into this game ranked 2nd in takeaways. That's on defense, that's on special teams. They're creating turnovers, and they have over the last 4 to 5 games. 2nd behind the Edmonton Elks Here's another one after the Anthony Johnson interception sets up the go-ahead touchdown and two-point convert. Now on the teams. Ball stripped, ball's out, recovered by Calgary, and Josh Love's back on the field.
That just squirted out on Berryhill. Calgary football just outside the 35. Love back in for the injured Vernon Adams Jr.
Timeout, Calgary. That is their second timeout.
Just 3.5 to go here in the fourth quarter, using that timeout.
Well, you know, going into his 100th win, if they can finish this game, Dave Dickinson, before the Anthony Johnson interception, calls a timeout. He gets his defense organized in a key moment in the game. Anthony Johnson picks the ball off. Now he's got a timeout. You use it or lose it before the 3-minute warning. Let his quarterback settle down a little bit here and finish this drive.
So out of the timeout, 3:33 in the clock, handing off to Ludwig Choquette. The running back in for the Stampeders. He keeps fighting his way to in 4 with David Gustav. Now the reason Choquette is in the game, the injury to Dedrick Mills. This is what happened a little bit before Vernon Adams got hurt.
And just a couple plays before his big hit here by Deontay Williams.
Upset about the nature of the tackle.
Well, he thought it was a clothesline, but it looked like the arm came across the shoulder pads. And Deontay Williams certainly didn't lead with his helmet. There was no penalty flag on that play.
Ludwig Choquette, second year out of Long Island. Another 2025 draft pick. Getting critical now. Down to the final 3 minutes here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Josh Love is in for the injured Vernon Adams Jr. We're thankful to see him up and around and looking okay right now after taking that hit, hitting his head on the turf very hard. After the fumble and the kickoff return by BC. And that was after the Calgary go-ahead touchdown. The Stamps have it back in field goal range at the very least with a 3-point lead. The ball is at the Lions 32. It is second down coming up here for Love. 2nd and 6. Pressure coming. Knocked away at the line. Coming in there was Darnell Sankey, the middle linebacker. And so Mike Benavides brought the heat. And it'll force a 3rd down. And at least BC can keep it within a score if Mickey hits this one to make it a 6-point game.
Yeah, it was that pressure and good timing there from Darnell Sankey, because there was an open receiver out in the flat that Josh Love had that was at the marker. Sankey turned it away.
39-yard try for Mickey, who's 4 for 4 in field goals, did miss an extra point. And he puts that one wide to the left, and it goes out. So under the new CFL rules, that is not a rouge. No point awarded. Still a 3-point game. So there's a break for the BC Lions.
Well, that's big. I mean, that rule change right there is big. If you're a BC Lions fan now, you're cheering on that rule change, because that didn't have a chance to hit inside the field of play. That was gone way wide and way out the back of the end zone. Holden snap clean. He just pulled it. And now it stays a 3-point game. If it's a 4-point game, the Lions need a major.
Which we would have seen last year. That would have been a 4-point lead. So, hey, we saw a bit of that before in the game between the Argos and the Ticats in Hamilton. On a missed field goal that did not go for a rouge. And they start at their 40. Nathan Rourke down 3.
Look out!
Oh, nearly throws another interception. He was on his back foot. Had a pump fake, and Zy Alexander coming in on a short pass as Rourke took a hit as he was getting rid of that football.
Yeah, I think it was Clarence Hicks, who's been an issue for Nathan Rourke and has been in that backfield a few times. He's trying to set up camp back there. He's a free hitter off the edge, and he goes up high. maybe got away with one. We've seen that been called before with a hand right to the face.
BC 7 for 16 in second down situations. It's a second down and 10 now. Needing 3 to tie. 2:47 on the clock. Stands in with time, and he threads it in nicely. That's McInnes, who's still going. Inside the 25-20, down inside the 15 before the Stamps finally take him down. A great pass there by Rourke, and great catch and run for Justin McInnes for a 59-yard gain.
Nathan Rourke threads the needle here to give Justin McInnes this throw inside. First of all, he gets jammed. That's really illegal contact that far down the field. No penalty flag. Didn't matter anyway because he was off to the races. And watch how smart Justin McInnes is here. At the very end of this, when he's being tackled, he puts 2 arms around the football to make sure he doesn't fumble it.
Protect that ball. Nathan Rourke now 10 away from 300 passing again. He's done that 25 times in his career. Taking the handoff from the 11 into the end zone, but no. Closest receiver there was Jermaine Jackson, but it sails out of bounds, and these things turning, these momentum swings happening between these two teams. Remember the Stampeders in week 1 against Winnipeg, they lost in a walk-off by Sergio Castillo, and then in week 3, their second game, lost to Saskatchewan in overtime. They've had some close finishes, including last week.
And last week was that third down play that they were talking about that was the difference. So can they get the stop here and force a field goal?
Lions, meanwhile, trying to improve to 4 and 5, looking for their 3rd straight win. They're down 3, but they're close. 11-yard line, 2nd and 10. Rourke. End zone, touchdown, Hatcher. What a redemption game for Keon Hatcher. His 2nd touchdown of the night. And BC has the lead again, a point after from making it more than a field goal stretch.
I believe it was Milt Stiegel that they talked about at halftime, basically saying, if you see the middle open and the safety, in this case Damon Webb, down low in any formation at all, as soon as that safety comes out of the middle, go to that spot. And that's what Keon Hatcher does. Wide open, Rourke retreats a step and hits it.
And an important point after here for Sean White, who does get it. So that makes it a 4-point game. So a field goal's no good in the final 2 minutes here for Calgary. Justin McInnes, the big catch to get him down close, and then Rourke hits Keon Hatcher again.
So our Hall of Fame receiver is saying, you see the safety like this, not up here? That's where Nathan Rourke knows he's got to go. In fact, he's looking at Damon Webb, who comes down low to cover on a low crossing route in basically cover 0. And you see cover 0, Nathan Rourke says, I just need a split second to get rid of it. Inside leverage on defender for Keon Hatcher. Touchdown, BC.
Keon Hatcher, 7 catches, 83 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. A critical one there with the point after, a 4-point lead for last year's leading receiver in the Canadian Football League. Frustrated by what happened last week against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He is fired up in that BC sideline. And things had just turned so quickly here, Suits, where the Lions had the lead. The Stampeders came back to score, and then the fumble on the kick return. But a missed field goal gave BC an opportunity again.
Big moment for Josh Love here. If Tyreek McAllister get decent field position on this return, big moment because there's lots of time.
Setting up the return here in the kick by Carl Meyer. McAllister at the 21. Over the 30 to 35. Breaking it to the left over the 40, 45, 46-yard line out of bounds. So once again, Tyreek McAllister gives the Stampeders offense a good place to start, trailing by 4 with 2:01 in the clock.
So no Dedrick Mills, #1 running back out of the lineup. Maybe we see McAllister on offense. Could that be possible? If not, this is Josh Love time.
Josh Love, who is 1 for 3. His completion was a 2-point conversion. had them in the lead momentarily. From the Calgary 46 now, Love in for Vernon Adams. Has time. Over the middle, no. It's low, it's incomplete. Intended there for Jalen Philpott.
Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Matthew Betts causing all kinds of problem in a 2-point off the edge here. Inside move, little stunt on the outside. Gets there fast enough to shake Josh Love enough that one hopped to Philpott.
Here's a big second down and 10 now for Josh Love. The Calgary 46, under 2 minutes, stands in with time. It's complete, just over a Lions defender into the hands of Dejan Brissett, and some life for the Stampeders on a big first down.
Ludwig Choquette comes up and makes a big block to give Love just an extra second. That's throw from deep in the pocket. He gets his man and runs him by the quarterback. And you're right, Lions had a chance. Couldn't get there.
32-yard pickup since Brissett had his first catch, and there's his second. So back-to-back catches as he is tackled there, getting a little bit closer down to the 25. A 32-yard gain on the previous one.
Just enough air under that for Josh Love to step up there on his back foot with Deontay Williams high pointing that ball. It just went through his hands, and the concentration by Brissett at the other end hangs on, and they got something going.
So 7 more yards and a 2nd and 3 now for Calgary down to the BC 25. Josh Love, quarterback for the Stampeders. Pressure coming, handing it off though, and around the edge goes Jalen Philpott and gets the first down for Calgary. This drive continues with plenty of time. 1:17 on the clock. The Stampeders do need a touchdown.
Last time they were down here in this situation, Mike Benavides, the defensive coordinator, went with pressure on a young quarterback. Send the pressure, but we just showed you what can happen if you vacate the middle. Because if you send pressure, and it can come from any different linebacker or some from the secondary, your safety has to cover.
They're 2 for 4 in the red zone. Couple of touchdowns from the 20. That's Devin Jones, 15. And reaches out to get another first down close to the 10-yard line.
Devin Jones takes advantage of his own look from Mike Benavides. So instead of going with pressure and getting everyone covered up, he plays a cover 3 look zone. That's 3 deep defenders with 5 underneath. But there's holes in that zone, and Josh Love finds the hole.
Devin Jones working it right down to the 10. So a 1st and goal, Calgary. Back come the Stampeders. Keep an eye on that clock, too. Ticking now, but still over a minute to play. They don't want to leave the Lions too much time either to come back, but they do need that touchdown. First and foremost, faking to Choquette, completing the pass to Brissett, but coming in there nicely is the safety Jackson Finley, who wraps him up for no gain.
Yeah, what a great play for Jackson Finley, who was coming up to play the run anyway, because it looked like it was a play designed to try and drain the clock here. A little RPO action, get the ball out to Brissett. Finley right there in his back pocket.
Maybe a foot, but it's still 2nd and goal. Now at the BC 9. What a finish. 41 seconds on the clock here at McMahon. Josh Love, 4-man pressure into the end zone, intercepted. Picked off BC, the veteran TJ Lee. And that should just about do it for the BC Lions. With a turnover right at the end zone, with Calgary looking to retake the lead.
He gets locked in, and young quarterbacks do this all the time with their look, and the veteran TJ Lee, over 600 tackles with the BC Lions, 2nd all-time in their history. Huge interception because he jumps the look of Josh Love, who got locked into his receiver on that curl. VA coming over just saying, it happens, man. It happens.
And for TJ Lee, the veteran who's picked off so many in his career, gets Josh Love there. That's his first of this season.
Come on, let's go.
And the team that lost their first 3 games of the season are now in victory formation to make it 3 straight wins and get closer to 500 again. Nathan Rourke takes a knee. His BC Lions take the game. And how about that combination of Rourke to Hatcher? Big part of this victory as you look at the updated standings to put the Stampeders by percentage in last place at 4-6. TJ Lee and the BC Lions improved to 4-5 as mentioned now for Buck Pierce. That's 3 straight wins.
There's not a whole huge total of interceptions in TJ Lee's career. In fact, in his first 8 years with the Lions, didn't have one, and then he got 4 over the last few years, none bigger than that one, to win a game and get the Lions right back in the fight.
When just the 5th interception as a team for BC, who had 3 in one day in Kelowna against Edmonton, and then just 1 since then. But yeah, TJ Lee and Josh Love, who was just thrust into action after that injury in the second half to Vernon Adams, and got them down close, but just on the threshold of the end zone, snuffed out by TJ Lee and the victorious BC Lions. What a game. The swings, all the momentum in the first half for Calgary. Had to settle for field goals, but still controlled the play. Lions coming back in the second quarter. Keon Hatcher gets a touchdown, and they took charge with Xander Horvath in the third and Rourke. And then Calgary had a great chance to wrap it up right there. But ultimately, the Lions prevail on a Thursday night in Calgary. Thanks for watching, everyone.